To be very honest with you, I do remember the call that you and I had, and I'm not sure that my answer to you that day was, I'm going to stand behind the letter. I think I referred you back to Norm Finlayson.
Right, and his answer was, we're standing behind the letter.
I want to be sure that you understand from my perspective. At that time, I am familiar with the letter. I don't have it on me, but I am familiar with the letter. I don't remember all the people that were CC'd. Why you've spent $5,000 on that, Chad, I have no idea. And there, as you know, your lawyers and BYU's lawyers have been communicating. I can't comment on the legal process, and I'm certainly not a lawyer myself.
Okay, I'm not...
But I think the thing that's important to understand is we have arrived at that point. I can see that you're concerned, well, I spent $5,000, why did I have to spend $5,000? You know what? I think your lawyers and our lawyers would probably be best able to understand that and answer that question. But my purpose today is we've arrived at that point for the review. Do you know what I mean? And I understand you've spent a lot of money to get here. I don't understand the legal process. But now that you're here, would you like to go forward with the process? And again, the process is examining your good standing with the honor code. That's what I'd like to examine, primarily because I have authority as an administrator at the institution to weigh that relative to your graduation and granting a diploma. And so and it's your choice. Again, I'll remind you that I have a number of questions. And I can't promise you and I haven't spoken at length before, if you'll be willing to answer them or if some of them will annoy you. I don't know. But that's the process that I've developed for today and outlined. And my question simply is, would you like to go through that process?
And my answer is I will only answer questions that have to do with the reasons us being here today, and that's the excommunication.
Okay.
Yeah, let him ask.
I mean, you can ask the questions, but I will only answer those that have to do with why I was excommunicated.
Then, you know what? Why don't I go ahead and ask the questions that I've prepared for you.
Okay.
You're obviously free to answer any way you want. If I become an annoyance to you, I'm certain you'll let me know. And if the annoyance becomes too great that you'd like to terminate this, I understand. If you have a look at the document I gave you, it's from the catalog, the honor code there. And one of the first parts of the honor code is to be honest. And of course BYU expects all of its students to be honest in its dealings with others. And this is a central issue and principle for the institution and the church. Dishonesty also includes things like lying, stealing, and shoplifting and cheating. During your time as a BYU student, and including up to this last summer, have you been honest in your dealings with people that you deal with?
So you're asking me the question from 1999 to 2002 to the time I took my online classes to
Yes.
or graduation?
If you want to divide the time up, it's fine.
Because from 2002 to 2008, I was nowhere near this place, nor was I anywhere near anything that I would have to abide by anyone's standards or anyone's laws. So clarify to me what time you're talking about.
When were you first enrolled as a BYU student?
1999 to 2002.
Okay.
And I would say as I was a student here on campus, as a full-time student, yes.
And how about when you weren't a student?
I don't feel comfortable asking that or answering that.
And that's
Okay.
Your prerogative. I'm not here to again squeeze an answer out of you. Are there any instances of dishonesty that you would like the university or me to review at this time that happened in that time period since you were a BYU student?
From 1999 to 2002, no.
How about in the period other than that?
I don't feel comfortable answering that.
Good. You've been interviewed by the press and created your own personal business websites. Is there anything in those articles or on those websites, when you consider the content that's in them, that's not accurate or that you'd like to correct at this time?
No. Everything is accurate.
If you'll have a look again at the document I provided with you for you, the next category is to live a chaste and virtuous life. And that encompasses many principles, including respect for others, self-control, and reserving sexual intimacies for marriage. And being chaste and virtuous means avoiding any inappropriate gender-based behaviors or sexual harassment. You're probably familiar with that. During your time as a BYU student, have you avoided any gender-based inappropriate activities?
From 1999 to 2002, I followed that law.
Okay. How about in the times following that?
I don't feel comfortable answering that.
During your time as a BYU student, have you avoided sexual harassment of others?
From 1999 to 2002, I avoided sexual harassment of others.
And how about any time following that?
I don't feel comfortable answering that.
Being chaste and virtuous also means avoiding involvement with pornographic, erotic, obscene, indecent, and offensive materials, and avoiding sexual relationships outside of the covenant of marriage. During your time as a BYU student, have you engaged in sexual relationships or sexual activity outside the covenant of marriage?
From 1999 to 2002, no.
How about in the time following?
I will not answer that.
During your time as a BYU student, have you been involved in publishing a calendar called Men on Mission?
From 1999 to 2002, no.
How about in any time following that?
Yes.